obviously everybody knows them, and for them to actually like recognize or maybe even tell you that, stop and tell you that they really like what you're doing. I mean, that's just like crazy.
Are there any celebrities that surprised you that were big fans of the show?
You know what I've always wanted to do is actually be able to stand like as a interviewee, like interviewer on a red carpet, and just see who might approach me, because I know that there are closet popaholics who watch all the time and I don't know. I mean, that'd be awesome if Brad Pitt came up or something like that, or Meryl Streep or something. But yeah, I mean, there's just, I think it shows you that pimple popping or the love or like of this is not crosses all borders, like race, ethnicity, sex, everything. Like, you never really know, and there's always somebody in the group. There's Gwyneth Paltrow, there's Selena Gomez, there's there's Ashley Graham. There's so many people that are it's amazing for me to see, and it's really special actually, because sometimes you obviously everybody knows them, and for them to actually like recognize or maybe even tell you that, stop and tell you that they really like what you're doing. I mean, that's just like crazy.
Definitely.
Kim Kardashian, I went to her house to actually help with something, and I wasn't seeing her.
Who is that? Sorry.
Kim Kardashian. I wasn't actually seeing her. She drove over to say hello to me, and said, because she said she was obsessed with. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
I love that. I love that Kim Kardashian is a popaholic.
Yes, big time.
What kind of issues are you resolving this season? What kind of new things are we seeing that we've never seen before? Because it's always a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it never ends. I mean, there's always people coming in with issues that certainly have affected their life to a great degree, and we can all see it because we can see. And I also I'm very excited to bring. I think a lot of people think that dermatologists are just pimple poppers, and there's so many more things involved in dermatology, and it is such a fascinating field actually, and we all relate to it because we understand skin issue. We all know what normal skin looks like. So to have people with really bad psoriasis, really bad other medical conditions that we haven't seen yet, that are not just big pops, but we have plenty of those too. And we definitely have some quite amazing patients with conditions that you just, of course, everybody will say or think to themselves, how do they live like this? Because it's just, you can't have a normal life like that.
No, I know. They sent us a teaser about a woman that has a rash all over her face, and that she was bullied so much, and it's just so sad to see the stories behind this, and as a doctor treating these patients and watching their transformations, that has to be probably the most rewarding part to all of this, because you really are changing people's lives.
I'm so lucky. I mean, I get to see it. I mean, every doctor does that. They all do these things to really change people's lives and improve them. But I'm just lucky that I get to see them at home afterwards and see how it has changed their life. So I feel really special in that way. And it's something that I'll always have, throughout my life. When I'm old, I would say, look at all these people that actually have a recording of them,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, is there a story that has stuck with you the most out of?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. I mean, there's so many from the season too. Just Leonard with he called it the chip on his shoulder, which was just this enormous growth, that lipoma that was coming out of actually he had traumatized it, and it looked like an extra appendage. Sorry, it might be too crazy to talk about these in detail. There is Roger coming up, who has the worst case of Rhinophyma, which is that thickening of the nose. Yeah. But it's come to the extent that he essentially has almost like 2 softballs or 2 baseballs hanging from his nose. Yeah. Can't imagine the weight of that, but how to actually function normally, a mask doesn't even cover it,
Yeah. So. I mean, do cases like that, sometimes when people come in, does something ever like make you nervous and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or like?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, there's certainly also one of the things that is tough is that sometimes there are things that people are hoping you can help them with and you can't. That's probably the worst kind of thing, or that you suspect could be really life-threatening.
Right.
And when you have to give them that news, that's like the really hard part. But yeah, they're challenging me every day. I mean, now that this is such a you know, being on TLC is like an international exposure. So people are coming from around the world, or they're sending me pictures, and there's things that I'm like, there are thousands of dermatologists between you and me, like, you know, the pressure is on.